Another training camp practice is in the books here in Ashburn, and the Washington Commanders are, ramping it up slowly day by day. And today I wanted to bring in a good friend of mine who's doing a great job over at Sports Illustrated and Locked On Commanders, Mr. David Harrison. What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. And, just the last couple of days of practice, they've definitely ramped up. You've seen a lot of 11-on-11s and just individual work too. But what are you noticing over the past 3-4 days?
I mean, I think that what you're noticing out here is consistency, right? So not like every single player, every single rep. Certainly there are guys that have a drop here and there or a missed block here and there. But when you look at the tempo on the field and you look at what their objective is and you hear Dan Quinn say, okay, guys, this morning, here's what we're going to work on the practice field, whether it be a second down competition or a red zone competition or goal line, or today one-on-ones with the O-line, D-line with pads on. What he says is going to happen is what happens on the practice field. And as kind of weird as that can sound up front, what it shows is you have a head coach who is not only plugged into the plan across the board in all three phases of what's going on with his football team, but he has a firm understanding of what's going to happen, what's about to happen, a firm expectation of it, and the players appreciate having that clear direction because they know as well. If the media knows when we step on the practice field what's about to happen, the players know, and you can see it in their energy and in the effort that they give on the practice field. And I think it's creating a more coherent and a more consistent product for the Washington Commanders.
Well, I mean, and you said something that a lot of us in the media, well, not a lot of us, but some of us in the media knew from last year and maybe years gone by that these guys didn't feel like they were getting the same universal message. That's obviously something that Dan Quinn has said from day one. You go back to his introductory press conference. He said we're going to be on the same page. Everyone's going to be rowing in the same direction.
Yep.
And it seems like the practices have been pretty smooth, David, because of that.
Yeah, and what I really like is it's a multidimensional effort, right? So a lot of times when you watch team drills specifically, it's like, all right, we're going to work on red zone offense in this team drill. So what's the focus? The red zone offense, not the red zone defense. But even though the focus is we're going to install red zone offense, so hey, defense, we need you to come out here, defend this red zone offense. We saw a game scenario the other day where it's an end-of-game scenario. The offense is down by 4. They've got 50 seconds left on the clock, and then they have one timeout. And not only did the offense have a timeout, the defense had a timeout, which is a little bit unique because usually it's like, all right, defense, line up. We're going to try some stuff out that we just learned against you. But no, in this situation, the defense is trying to win.
Yeah,
the defense isn't just there to give the offense a good look. The defense is trying to win. Joe Wade Jr. saw his defense was not set, was not in the right look, and he said, you know what, we're not doing this. Timeout. I'm going to reset my guys. They called a timeout, and they reset their guys, and they went at it. Now, the offense still won, right? So that's not going to make Joe Witt very happy. But it's kind of a wrinkle that I think is important because even though the drill might say red zone offense or end-of-game offense, the defense is out there competing. They're not just on the field to be role players. They're out there trying to win.
Yeah, and I think overall, when it's been a week now, week and some change. Yeah. And as we said, they're ramping it up. They went from really light practices the first 2 days, more light conditioning, getting guys ready. But now they're going at it, and you're seeing those individual one-on-one drills. One of the drills today, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, and we saw a guy by the name of Sam Cosmi, who, by the way, I said last year, should have made the Pro Bowl. I truly believe that. He's going to make it this year. Absolutely. However, he stoned a gentleman by the name of John Allen and kind of put him in the dirt. Yeah. John didn't, feel too good about that. Didn't really care for being shoved to the ground. But that's part of football, and that's what you want to see from your offensive line.
Yeah, I mean that's nasty, right? Sam Cosmi is the best dude on that offensive line. So until somebody else takes that mantle, that's what he is. That's what you expect him to be. And look, I mean, I don't know what the conversation was, but I know John Allen was talking to him.
It wasn't
Sam
pleasant,
Cosmi
folks.
looked like he was just kind of walking away. Wasn't trying to have a part of the conversation. Like, hey, bro, you ended up on the ground. I didn't.
Right.
I won. You lost. Get off the field. But, it's that competition is going to make this group better, right? And John Allen, I actually watched him a little while later in a team's drill. They had a water break, and him and the offensive line were just kind of poking at each other and laughing and smoking and joking. So, obviously in the moment, the competitive edge and the heat and everything got the better of John Allen. It's not like he was trying to fight him or nothing, got the better of him. But then when it comes time, again, get together as a team, do this team thing. John Allen out there being a leader and making sure that the offense and defense are unified.
And John's going to come at him next time.
Absolutely.
So he's going to try to put Sam in the dirt. Yeah. And this is how you fester competition.
John Ridgway smacked Michael Dieter upside the head on a rep. So, when that happens, man, Sam Cosmi's got to step up for his guy, and that's how this works.
And that's what you want. You want guys competing. You don't want a guy thinking that anything's given to him, and that's another thing with Dan Quinn and even going back to, Adam Peterson. They want guys to understand nothing is given. You're going to earn everything. And obviously that's a cliche that every team will say, but it's on display out here. Like there's a lot of young players Bryson Tremaine, from was it from Arizona State? I'm sorry, from where did Bryson Tremaine go to school?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, well, we know from Stanford. There we go.
Oh, there
from
you go.
Stanford,
Yeah. Stanford, Speed and Pritchard.
From Stanford, right?
I remember that.
So you see a guy like that. He's got size, 6'4".
Yeah.
This team kind of needs a big receiver.
Yeah. Asian persuasion.
Absolutely. Has he put himself in potential? And I saw where you went with that. Is he putting himself in potential to make this roster?
I think he's put himself in place to have a potential to make the roster.
Yes.
Right? That's how I would say. Like Bryson Tremaine definitely had a very strong camp. Had the play of the day Tuesday, laying out to catch a pass from Marcus Mariota. Quarterbacks love seeing receivers that are willing to do that for him. I actually asked him about that. I said, what went through your mind? He said, nothing, man. It's just muscle memory. You just got to lay out and get the ball. And that's exactly what you want in an NFL receiver. And I think Bryson, in his second year, has taken a lot of strides towards getting much better. Yeah. Right now, if the roster cuts were to happen today, I still think he's a practice squad guy. But there's no doubt that he's taken a stride or two. And actually, this team might be a little bit worried about putting him out there on the preseason field because he might show up and show out.
Absolutely.
And other guys
might
might want
to make a decision.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think when you look at that wide receiver room, I talked with Terry McLaurin after practice, and he's just so excited, man.
Mm-hmm.
We both were talking about how, he's got to feel like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
He's got an opportunity now to be coached properly, be in a setting that's conducive for his skill set, and it's not just playing underneath football. This guy caught an incredible, 50-yard pass in the back of the end zone right here. And that's what you want to see. You want to see him utilize that 4.2 speed because most people don't know Terry's that fast.
Don't remember it. Yeah, you saw it all the time at Ohio State. Coming out of Ohio State, everybody's like, well, Terry McLaurin can run fast, he can run deep, and he can catch the football. But that's about all we know about him. Went to the Senior Bowl, showed a little bit more. Went to the Scouting Combine, showed a little bit more. Got him into the day 2 picture, but didn't get him in the day 1 picture where he knows he should have been. And I'll die on this hill every day. Guys like Terry McLaurin and Michael Thomas, before injuries got the better of him, and maybe a little bit of an attitude problem. Got the better of him, are the reason that guys like Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson made it into the first round.
Ohio State
Chris
pipeline.
Olave and Garrett Wilson also very limited route trees in college, but people said, hey, just because Ohio State receivers don't run the full route tree doesn't mean they're not capable. It just means that's what Ohio State does. And
we didn't say that about Harrison, though.
Terry McLaurin, what's that?
We didn't say that about Harrison.
Marvin Harrison? Marvin Harrison Jr. can run the full route tree, but again, he didn't necessarily need to put it on display in college because I think that, again, guys like Terry McLaurin paved that way. So hopefully they're paying homage to some of those guys that came before him. But yeah, Terry, there's got to be no better feeling for Terry McLaurin right now in this stage of his career to run a 50-yard fly route, whatever it is, and be able to catch the ball, but not only be able to catch the ball, but catch it in stride. Not have to slow down, break down, jump, do whatever, just catch it in stride, go in the end zone, hear the fans chanting Terry, Terry, and just celebrate with his guys. He's got to be as happy as he's probably ever been since draft day.
Folks talking with David Harrison from Sports Illustrated and Locked On Commanders podcast. Quick question for you, maybe, before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to be up in New York.
Yes, we are.
Joint practices against New Jersey.
One of 2 teams in New Jersey, absolutely.
One of 2 teams. So we'll joint practices, obviously, with the Jets. Are there any matchups you're in particular looking forward to seeing?
Yeah. Garrett Wilson against every cornerback the Washington Commanders have. Line them up against all of them. That defense against this offensive line, Quinn Williams, those guys, and these receivers against guys like Sauce Gardner. I want to see, Terry McLaurin's out here. He's beating Emmanuel Forbes. Listen, Emmanuel Forbes is in phase.
He's actually having a pretty good camp.
Terry McLaurin is just Terry McLaurin, and Jane Daniels is putting the ball on the spot. But I want to see Emmanuel against some of those guys because, again, it's great that you're in phase against your own receivers, and it's great that you're looking like you're in position. You're just getting beat by really good passes. But let's see if you can do it against the opponent.
How much do you think we're going to see Jaden? Obviously these are practices still,
right.
But, this is your prized possession, and he's performed really well. If you ask me right now on the offensive side of the ball, or for this team in general, is he one of the top 5 players as far as what he's doing in camp? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Might be number 1, might be number 2.
Right.
So because we see that, because those coaches see that, his teammates see that, do you want to put him out there a lot against the Jets?
If I'm Dan Quinn, I'm giving Jaden Daniels every first-team rep in the practice and giving him no reps in the game. And I know it's terrible for the fans at home because you're only going to be able to see it.
I don't want him playing in preseason.
But that's what I would do at this juncture, given what Jaden has shown already. I would give him every first-team rep against the Jets. I would sit him for the entirety of the preseason. I might even sit Marcus Mariota for the preseason game, to be quite honest with you. I might just go Jeff Driscoll and then Sam Hartman.
Yeah, and let them figure out who's going to be their number 3.
Put Armani Rogers in there for a third quarterback.
Hopefully we don't see that.
Yeah.
But, So, folks, we're going to wrap it up here in Ashburn. Another training camp day, a hot scorcher of a day. As you can tell, I still wore the visor. Surprised you got the towel, so you did it all good. Remember, folks, you can check out David on where?
Locked On Commanders, 5 days a week, Sports Illustrated, CommanderGameDay.com.
Okay. All right. And you can check me out, obviously, at Lake Lewis Jr. on all social media platforms and on Sports Journey as well, and then on occasion on ABC as their team insider.